Hello, Dillon. Just wondering about all of that quality time that you spent with the Cleveland Browns heading into this process. It really flew under the radar, but it seems like you had a pretty good idea that you were coming here to Cleveland. And why is this a good fit for you?
Yeah, I think, just starting out, had built a true relationship with them. And I think naturally in this process, when you're around them, for quite some time, you're able to, talk through ball and, get to know one another. And, I truly felt like those relationships were built. And, I'm so glad I'm around. But two, I think just excited for what's to come. Know that, when we talk ball and have had conversations, this is right where I need to be. And it's perfect the way it played out. It's kind of all that pageantry's done, and now I'm a Brown, so that's all that matters.
Hey, Dillon, what kind of benefit it will be for you to be able to learn from Joe Flacco?
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think as a guy who's played a lot of ball myself, I obviously know there's still a lot for me to learn. And then on another piece, me being a vet in college, I know how much I was able to share knowledge in college with, some younger guys. And, I'll be doing the same learning from Joe. I think it's a unique situation, and having a guy like him that has a lot of knowledge and has played a lot of ball, he's seen what works and what doesn't. And I think, just being able to be a sponge and be around him will definitely benefit me.
Dillon, kind of off of that, your own experience, 6 years in college, 3 different programs, so I imagine, 3 somewhat different schemes. What what has that imparted on you, and what have you been able to, how has it forced you to sort of grow over that time?
Yeah, naturally there's growth, and I think the ability to be around a bunch of different schemes, a bunch of great coaches that have been, very successful at the college level, but also are respected at the NFL level. And just being able to grow in that way, terminology, offensive scheme, just the amount of variations that I've been accustomed to and have adapted to quickly. Naturally, you just know more about ball. And, I'm very glad I had those experiences. They all built me up to where I am today. But like I said, there's more for me to learn and continue to grow. And I look forward to bringing what I got to the table, but then also, that growth that I'm going to make.
Hey, Dillon, congratulations. Brown's leadership has been talking about, open competition for starting quarterback with, veterans, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett here. What are your expectations for how you might fit into that?
Yeah, I think for me, my definite expectation is just creating value and creating impact, and that's wherever I've been. I only know how to be the starter, but I also know that, a healthy quarterback room is important, and being able to compete day in and day out is naturally what happens and part of what we do. But I look forward to, whatever I walk into and being able to get around the guys and like I said, create an impact, create value in every way I can.
Dillon, obviously, quarterback is a position of need for the Cleveland Browns, and you talked about the competition with Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett this summer. So for you, I mean, that comes with some pressure. How do you anticipate handling that, and what makes you a good fit for handling that kind of pressure?
Yeah, I'm built for it. I've done this all my life. I've been playing quarterback from a young age and have stepped into, top-tier programs that demand success. So I'm built for this. I'm ready for it. It's the new challenge. And although there's unknown, and this may be a first time for me in terms of being in the NFL, I think just my ability to adapt in college and be around a team and, different teams in that way allows you to be able to adapt quickly and know, naturally when you walk into a building, you got to be prepared. You got to earn daily influence from your teammates, and then that allows you to continue to challenge. So for me, pressure is a lot of fun. That's what you look forward to as a competitor, and you run towards it.
Hey, Dillon, I know you said it played out perfectly, you winding up with the Browns, but how were the last couple of days like for you as you watched everything unfold, didn't know where you're going to go, and you and the rest of the quarterbacks, obviously it's a huge talking point with the draft. What are you thinking as all these picks go off the board?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm at peace knowing that each situation's different and everyone's got their own journey. And for me, I had trust in my journey. And, you know, I've been living this journey as a player for myself, and there's consistent talks about who I am as a player, how, you know, it'll translate in that sense, but I've continued to prove it. And for me, it's a production-based business, and producing and getting results is my way of life. So I'm excited to continue to prove it, you know, and whatever was going to happen, and, you know, obviously we're here now. I was at peace with it, knowing that God's got a plan, and I just want to stay close to the path He has set out for me.
Dillon, I remember talking to you at the Senior Bowl and being really struck just by how incredibly confident you are in your game and in yourself. And, you know, it's different than most rookies, it seems to me. But my question is, with you coming in here and competing with not only Kenny, but with a Super Bowl MVP who's heading into his 18th season and has played 1 million games, just how do you approach that from a confidence standpoint and not be rattled or let that moment be too big for you?
For sure. Well, number one, they're my teammates now, you know, and I've got a level of respect for my teammates and being able to build that. And that's going to happen from day one. You got to build that and put time in and build trust. But two, I'm confident in my abilities. You know, I know what my strengths are. I know what I'm able to do. I know what I bring to the table, and I'm confident in that. But also know that I'm a sponge. I can learn from anyone, you know, and that's Joe or another rookie that's coming in with me. So in either way, I'm just excited to learn. I'm excited to grow, but I'm also excited to compete because, like I said, it's a business about results, and that's what I've been focused on. I want to win, and that's what I'm going to continue to pride myself on.
Hey, Dillon, are you bothered when people focus on your height? And, you know, Kevin Stefanski said it's not ideal, but you've been able to overcome it and be really productive. How have you been able to do that?
This whole time, you know, in my journey, everyone has focused on limitations. Naturally, people do that, you know. But that's why it's a game of producing. It's my way of life. It's how I've had to live, which is producing on a high level in order to make sure that, you know, my play is respected on a certain level. And for me, I'm playing against these first and second round, third round picks that I'm seeing go off the board. So I'm excited to continue to compete against them, but also knowing that I've played against these guys, you know, and at the end of the day, it's 11 on 11. How decisive are you? You know, how can you speed up your processing? Can you be deadly accurate? And that's all stuff that translates to the NFL. So that's what I'm focused on. And like I said, you just got to continue to grow. It's a game of getting better as well. And that's what I've continued to do at each stop.